Ever built a perfect website that only looks good on your laptop? Today I'm going to show you how to transform yesterday's desktop focused site into a responsive masterpiece with just a few lines of CSS. These are the exact technique you need in your developer toolbox to ace real-world projects. Let's turn theory into practice. So today we are talking about responsive design. This is an article I wrote on it. It goes in depth on the theory behind responsive design and why we have responsive design. I encourage you to go through it. It's very helpful. I'm going to drop the link in the description so that you can as well try it out. So take your time to go to it. So in this video, I'm going to be applying some of the key concepts of responsive design in practice. I'm not going to touch all of them, but just to help you get an idea of what we mean when we say responsive design. And I'm going to be applying it on a website that I developed a while back. You can go and watch the video on my channel, so you can, if you want to see how I build a website and you want to follow up. But it's nice if you watch the video; it will really help. So this is a website I built from scratch a while back, and I optimize it mostly for desktop view. In this video, I'm going to re-optimize it for mobile and tablet. So when we talk about responsive design, it has to do with optimizing your website for different screens so that your website is well represented across different screens. That is your mobile phones, your tablets, your PC, or even your smart TVs, because nowadays we have smart TVs and which can access the internet. So you want to make sure that your website is it's accessible across these devices and screen. Now, I'm going to be touching on some key concepts of responsive design. We talk about image, but mostly I'm going to be making use of media queries for this part of the project. Like I said, I encourage you to read through this article. It goes in depth. I'm not going to touch on everything that is discussed in this article, but I'm going to give you an idea of what we mean by responsive design. So without further ado, let's just get to what we want to work on. So this is the website, and this is the code we use to build the website. So here we have our HTML file, we have our styles, and some of our assets are found here, as you can see. So now, if we take a look at this site, if I open up my inspector and I go into the screens, yes, the screens, I'm already in the screens, and I try to reduce the responsive size, or better still, I could just play with this tab here. You can see that this is the mobile page from 320 pixels up until 425, the mobile page as specified by our browser. Then we have the tablet switch up to 768, and then everything above 124 is regarded as laptop, or higher than that a TV or a laptop or a desktop screen, like that. So if I click on the mobile page, this is how our website appears on a mobile phone. You can see that it's not very optimized. On the laptop view, it looks nice and good to go, but when we switch over to the laptop view, it looks wonky and quite terrible actually. You can see that this is a major issue down here, especially the footer, the way this crunked up. And on the tablet view, it's not bad actually. It's not bad, but okay, here we have it's tightly pierced together. We have this side of of the the footer going into this side of the footer. You can see the font size a little bit big. So this is what we mean by responsive design. This website was built with a laptop, or a desktop laptop, or larger screens in mind. But when we speak about responsive design, we are trying to make sure that our screens, our website is accessible across all screens. Um, responsive design is a term that was coined in 2010 by a man named, I think that, yeah, Ethan Marcotte, if I pronounce that right, in 2010. So before that, most websites typically a common strategy you will see is that most websites or companies would make different websites, one for desktop view and one for mobile view, and and those were both resource intensive and difficult to maintain. So you are maintaining two different code base for multiple screens. You can see how painful that can be. And thank God for the introduction of responsive design. And I'm going to show you how we can use that in practice right now. All right. So first thing, we are going to be working on the tablet view. So we are currently in the tablet view. This is the laptop, and this is the tablet view. And if we take a look at our nav bar, it looks okay. It's still okay in the tablet view. So I'm going to be moving on to the hero section of things, and I'm going to be adjusting the padding, that's the space in between this wall, and the size of this image. So I have my live server setup, my live server extension setup. So each change I make automatically reflects on the browser. So let's move over to our CSS file. This is our whole CSS file. Beautiful. Then I'm going to create a different section here and give it responsive design. So we can just so we can understand that the code underneath this section is purely for responsive design. So the tablet, I'm going to target this viewpoint a width of 768, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use something we call media queries. So this is how it works. Uh, Let me just, okay. All right. So this is how it works. You specify a media. You specify the media type. In this case, it is screen. So I'm targeting screen. I can also decide to change it to print, which is print means how you want the website to look when you want to print it. And then we also have I think speech, if I'm right. Yeah, speech. And speech is for accessibility. That is screen readers. Maybe people that are using screen readers, people that have disabilities. It has to do with that. And if I decide to remove it, no, the last one we have actually is all. All includes both screens, speech, and print. Yes, it includes all the three. So whatever rule I put here applies to all three of them. So it's so by default the media query applies to all. So if I decide to remove this and just leave nothing there, it's going to apply to all by default. So another thing we do is that we target the width we want, the screen width we want to use. So I can say a max width of let me see that again. Yeah, 768. 768 pixels. So what we are telling our CSS file is that whatever styles we put in here should apply from a width of 0 up onto a max width of 768, which is the tablet viewpoint. I can also decide to just put a width of 768. What that means is that uh whenever the website or whenever we hit a screen or whenever our users is using a screen of width of 768, whatever styles is inside there should kick in, should apply instantly. But most of the time what you will see is either max width or min width. In fact, it's usually min width nowadays because that's actually the recommended practice for mobile first. But in this case, I'm going to be using max width. But just know that max width, min width are usually the popular one when we're dealing with screens. So I could as well just say screen and this. So that means on the screen view, and which has a width of max width of 768, which is where most tablets falls in. Apply all the styles that are inside there, or on print, and when the max width is this, apply all the styles that are inside there. So that's just how it goes. But by default, it is all. So whatever styles I put here, if I leave this out of it, I remove the screen and the and. So this and operator, if I remove both of them, it just means that whatever I'm doing inside here, apply it to all of them, the screen, the print, or the speech. Just apply it to all. So that's what it means. So now I'm going to style the hero section on the tablet view. Let me just make that obvious. This is tablet view. Okay. And I'm going to call that hero section that same ID, because I give my hero section an ID of hero. This is it right here. If we move over to the hero section, this is the ID. So I'm going to start that same ID on tablet view. So I'm going to give it a padding. I'm going to adjust the padding and give it a padding of 20 pixels all around. So you see that it has adjusted, which was different. This is what it now looks like on a tablet view. But if I go back to the laptop view, it still looks the same. But when I switch over to the tablet view, it suddenly changes. So the next thing I'm going to do as well, I'm going to try to be as fast with this as possible. I'm going to start with the H1, because that H1 is way too big. I'm going to give the font size of 2 RAM. And you see how that's adjusted. In the normal view, the tablet view, I gave it a font size of, let me just go back and see. I gave it a font size of 3 RAM by default. So it was 3 RAM by default. But when it comes over to the tablet view, it would now be 2 RAM. Then also, I'm going to style the first child. Let me just put this down. The div first child. And I'm going to give it a flex basis of 50%. So that text that we have, 50%. And then the div, no, I also want to style the paragraph. So the paragraph is going to have a margin bottom of 20 pixels. 20 pixels. Normally I gave it a margin bottom of, let me see what I gave it. A margin bottom, the paragraph. Okay, I also give it 20 pixels here. So I don't think it's necessary I give it 20 pixels here anymore. So I'm going to quickly remove that. Okay. Then I'm going to give the div last child a flex basis of 40%, which is okay. Now let's see what our hero section looks like. So this is what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like on the tablet, on the this thing, on the laptop view, and this is what we have on the tablet view. So this looks okay. The image is larger, the font is smaller, and it just fits nicely. So this is okay for me. So I'm going to go over to the skill section of things. We're not going to do much here because this already looks nice as it is. I'm just going to center this image because I like it centered. You can decide to do it or not, just depends on how you want it. So I want this image to be centered, and I think there's too much space here on the mobile view. I think I gave it a padding of let me see what I give it by default. uh where is it? Yes, a padding of 25 pixels up and down and 40 pixels right and left. But I just want to have a padding of 20 pixels all around. So I'm going to come here, use that same ID, which is skill set SCT. Then I'm going to give it align items just to center the image. Then I'm going to give it a padding of 20 pixels. Let's see what we have. So it's centered now, and the spaces here is now shrinked. If you look at it, it was quite much, but now it's shrinked. Okay, not too much of a difference, but I like it. I prefer it like this. So moving on, I want to move to the portfolio part of things, our work and these images. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to shrink these headings here. This one looks quite fine. I'm going to shrink this one at the mobile face, but it's okay the way it is. So it looks nice, but I don't like these ones here. These headings, they look a little bit large on the mobile. You can see that they're coming on to the next line already. And I also want these images to appear 2 2, not 3. So if we look at what I gave it for the normally for the desktop, I gave it a flex basis of where was that? Okay, I think it should be somewhere around yeah, I give them a flex basis of 30%. So that is on a line we have 100%, so that is 30 30 60, another 30 90 with 10% to spare on the space. So that means it will appear 3 3. So I'm going to change this 30% to 45%. So we have 45 45, that's 90, and what is remaining will now be 10%, and 10% is less than 45. So that means only 2 will appear on a row, and that 10% will be used to space it. So I hope you understood that. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to target the that portfolio section. Portfolio, okay. Okay, my AI is almost there, but I'm going to change this one to 45%. 45%, not 450. So you can see that they're appearing 2 2 now on the line, not 3. Then I want to change this font size of this H3. I want to change it to a font size of 1.2 rem. 1.2 rem. So they are smaller, as you can see. All right. So what I'm going to do now, since this is looking nice, I'm now going to work on this footer while we are on the tablet view. Now you can see that it's all pushed together. Now, if you look at the HTML file, let's go down to the footer where the footer is. As you can see, we have a div and a paragraph. Then within the div, we have 2 address tags and a form, 2 address and a form. When we head on to our styles, the way we initially started, okay, you can see that we set a div. I might have made a mistake here. So I set a div inside this form to be display flex. But if you look at this form now, I only want to target this div. But I did a div within the footer, which is right. The problem is that there is another div in here. So although this is a direct child, and this is a nested div child, which is nested deeper into the form, but it still counts as a div. But I don't want to target this div here. I only want to target the direct child, which is this div. So it's a correction I'm going to make here. I'm first going to give it an ampersand, which represents this footer. Then I'm going to give it a direct descendant selector. So if I do this arrow stands for direct. So it's only going to target the div that is here. This div. It's not going to target any div that is nested further down like we have here, and which is what I don't want. So there might be some changes As you can see here, this has changed because now it has changed, and we have to fix it because before it the this tiles over here, when it was just this, it was setting both the external div and the internal div and giving it a flex of this, which made it look like this. But I don't want that. I just wanted to target the external div, and this is what I get. But I'm still going to fix this one so that we can get what we originally want. But let's start working with it like this. I can't believe I didn't notice that in my original video. So now let's target the footer element over here. I'm going to give the footer style on the tablet view. I'm going to do that stuff again. That's when I give an ampersand and a div. Then I'm going to give it a flex swap, a flex swap, and a row gap. So flex swap, tell it to wrap. So you can see that it came down, which is nice. Then I want to add some spacing in between here. I can give it a gap. Gap would add spacing both vertically and horizontally, but I just want to add gap horizontally, which is the row, just in between both rows. So I'm going to give it a row gap, a row gap, a row gap of 2 rem, 2 rem. So you can see that the space has been added. So I'm still going to work on this button. I don't like it like this. I want it to be to go all the way in. So underneath this, I'm going to work on that same form. First of all, I'm going to give the form I'm going to give the div inside the form, which is the div inside this form. Actually, not the div, not the div. I don't need to target the div. All I want to do is make sure this button is wider and the same width as this. But before we target the button, I want to center this one. So not the div, but I want to center the form, the whole form, not the div inside the form, but the whole form, which is both the label, and as you can see, we have here, this is the form. So not exactly the div, but the whole form that contains the label and the div. So I'm going to take the form now, and I'm going to center it. I'm going to give the margin of 0. That's 0 up and down, and just auto. And what do we have? It has been centered there. So next, I'm going to target the label, this label here. I'm going to center it. So label. So the label, I'm going to give it a text align of center. So it's going to be centered. Then now to this button Congo, I'm going to increase the button width so that it goes all the way through. So I'm going to give the button under the form element selector. I'm going to give it a width of 100% and imagine top of 3 pixels. Actually, nice try, my AI. So I'm going to give it a width of 100% and imagine top of 3 pixels. So you can see that it goes all the way now and there is space. So I like it like this. You may not like it like this. If you don't like it like this, you can always adjust it to your liking, but I like the in-between space and what we can see down here. So this is my desktop view, my desktop version. As you can see, this is the laptop, and this is sorry, my tablet version. So this is the laptop, and this is my tablet version. So you see how it looks nice. Laptop, everything appears 3, but on tablets it appears 2. So it looks very, that is what we call responsive design. This is laptop, for or large screen and for tablets, and this is how it look like. Now these figures, this is what my browser specify with as the tablet breakpoint. We call them breakpoints, point where we decide to make changes. So I specify a breakpoint of 768, but it's not compulsory you use 768. You can decide to specify, maybe you want to work for 3 different screen, 4 different screen. You can decide to use maybe you want to target a particular tablet that has a particular screen size. You can decide to use that, or maybe target 2 tablets, maybe one for 768 and another one for 558, or anything like that. You can specify different breakpoints depending on your project you're working on. It does not have, you don't have to follow this particular rule, but this is a common breakpoint, or maybe not necessarily common, but this is what I tend to see for tablets. So from my own experience, this is quite common. So just keep in mind that they are not set in stone. You can decide to customize it for different breakpoints. You can design a website and optimize it for 5 screen or as much as you like. You just have to put in the work to make it work. So now that we are done with the tablet version, let's look at our mobile version. Let's see how it looks like. So this is a mobile version. I don't know about this. You can see how ugly this thing looks. Uh, okay, we are going to work with this now. We're going to adjust it. So we've done for our, look at this, look at how scattered this look. So we've done for our tablets. Now we're going to work on the mobile version of the site. Now, the first thing we're going to work on is this nav bar here. So now, if what you typically see in websites, there's usually a hamburger icon here when they, that is on tablet and laptop or large screens. You see your link here. Then when you go into a mobile view, you tend to see a hamburger icon here. Observe my own website. So if I go to my website, www.kendeshow.com. Okay, all right, so I'm going to use my website as an example. I'm going to inspect it now. Let's go into this is the tablet view. This is the this is the laptop. This is the tablet. If I begin to so you can see what happened. Okay, I think okay, this comes up in the tablet view as well. I thought I only made it for laptop. Okay, so let's just assume this is it. This is the laptop view. So you can see as it begins to shrink, observe what happened right here. So it's at a certain point the icons disappear, and what you get is a hamburger button. I didn't know I even set it for tablet. I thought I made it only for mobile version, but it's okay. But it's common for mobile. When you come into mobile screens, you will see a hamburger button like this, and when you click on it, it will now pop up. Some of them, it might even slide in from the right or from the left, depending on how the developer wants to do it. So that is how it usually happens with the link you have in your on your nav bar. But I'm not going to do that here, because in order for me to add this feature inside, I have to make use of JavaScript. And I don't want to use JavaScript in this example because I only want to use CSS and HTML to run this responsive design. I don't want to go into JavaScript. So what I'm going to do is that when I come to the mobile screen, I'm going to make this link disappear, just disappear, and just keep only my initials here. And it's not ideal for production. Usually you want to keep your links, your users should be able to access your link both on your mobile and your desktop version of your site. But because I don't want to use JavaScript at this point, I don't want to go into that level. We are just working with HTML and CSS. and I'm going to make it disappear and work with that. So let's go into our CSS file now and do that. So once we are done with tablets, we are going to come into the mobile responsiveness, and at media. Okay, we don't need to add these screens. If you leave everything empty by default, it comes up to that. So I'm going to give it a max width of 425. For my AI is suggesting 480. So that's to tell you that it's not fixed. It just depends. But if you look at this browser, the browser is the maximum here is 425. So I'm going to go with 425, which is common, I guess, in this case, since the browser is using it. But just know that it's not fixed. It's not really fixed. You can do your research when you want to create your website, or you can just go with this. Anyone works well. All right, so I'm going to target the header. Inside the header, I'm going to target the nav because that's how I structured it. If you look, that's the same pattern I followed here. Header, nav, and the ULs. So this is the header, these are the navs, and the nav contain the H1 and the ULs, So I'm going to make those ULs. But first of all, let me give it a width. I'm going to give it a width of 95% because at this point I give it a width of 80%, and I'm not liking how there's too much space here. So this is the width here. Sorry, I just want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. So this is the width here. So I gave it by default of 80%. So I want to enlarge that to 95% on the mobile screen. So it's been enlarged. Then secondly, I am going to justify it to be center. But before I do that, let me first make the UL, give it a display of none. So a display of none just completely removes it from the document. So then I'm going to come over here and give it a justify content of center because I want to center it, and it still has a display of Flexbox. So when I give a justify content of center, it will automatically center since it's still using a display of Flexbox by default. I hope that makes sense. So if you look here to our nav bar, you will see that we give it a display of flex. So I've not changed that. It's still, that display of flex is still in operation here. So I just centered it by giving it a justify content of centered. All right, so I hope that was easy to understand. Then we are now going to work on our hero section. So as you can see, this looks okay. This is what we can do as with our HTML and CSS as of now, since we're not going to include that hamburger button, which includes JavaScript. So we're going into our hero section, and you can see how our hero section just looks messed up. The icon is so little, and God help us. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to change the order of this property. I'm first going to make sure that they take up the whole space, 100% of the space, both the icon, both the text and the image, and they're going to wrap. So one of them is going to come down, which is this one. But I'm going to change when they come down. I'm going to change the order of the elements, the order of the two containers. I'm going to make this one come first and this one come second. So let's get to that. So first of all, let me first target the hero. I gave that section an ID of hero because it's the hero. I'm going to give it a width also of 95%. So it takes up most of the screen. Then I'm going to give it a flex direction of column, and you can see that it automatically starts to stack in a vertical fashion, and the image comes down. The next thing I'm going to do is that I want to center the H1. I'm going to give it a text align of center, as you can see here. Then I'm going to target the first div and the last div child. So here we have the div, first child, and the last child. So I'm going to switch up the order of the two of them. I'm going to give this one an order of 2, and this one below an order of 1. So you can see that the order has been switched in both of them. Then lastly, I want to put some space in between here. So to do that, I'm going to give it a row gap. Let's say a row gap of 10 pixels. So there was some space, a little bit space here. If I increase that to say 20, it's more obvious that there's some space here. But let me just give it a row gap of 15 pixels. All right, so that looks quite fine. Our hero section is good to go. Then moving on to the skill section, you can see that this also looks ugly. I'm also going to reorder it to make this one take the first row and the image come bottom. So let's get to that. I'm going to target the skill and I give it an ID of skill set if we check our HTML file, but I'm not going to do that so that we can be as fast as possible. So first of all, let me first give it a width of 95%. As you can see here, the width has expanded. I'm going to give it a flex direction of column, so that you can stack. You can see that it has stacked already. So I'm going to change this order to come down. I don't want the image coming first. I want the skills coming first. So but first let me give it a row gap of 1.5 rem. So you see there's a little bit of space in here. So now I'm going to target the order of the element, the first div and the last div, which is the first child. I'm going to give it a order of 2, and this one below an order of 1. So you can see that our skills have been switched from the top section. Our image has been switched from the top to bottom. Sorry, I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be last child, but it's still going to work. It still works because I changed the order of the first child. So CSS is smart enough to know that since the first child order has been changed, the last child will take the first position. Will take the position of the first child. But just keep that in place as always. So now I'm going to be targeting this section. I want these images to appear one on a single line. I don't want them to be sharing space like this because they don't look nice at all. Then I'm also going to be reducing the font size of this H2 up here. So let's get to that. First of all, I'm going to target it with the portfolio ID, which is what I gave it. This is what I give that section. Then within the portfolio ID, the H2, I'm going to give it a font size of 1.5 rem. 1.5 rem. So you can see that's been reduced. Then we are going to move on to style those images. So the images are found within the project and the div. So the div within the project, and I'm going to give it a flex basis of 100%. So you can see how perfect they are right now. And this is what I want for the portfolio section. So there's not much to do here. This looks beautiful and well placed by what I can see. So next we are going to head on to the footer section. Now the footer section, first of all, I want to target these headings here. I want to reduce the heading a little bit and style the space. This is too much space. I want to reduce the space underneath. And also the list, this list, I also want to reduce the font size of the list. So let's get to it. So the footer section, we are going to target it with the footer element selector. Then within the footer element selector, I'm going to select the H3 and the label. So first of all, I'm going to reduce the font size to 1 rem. So this is it, that's been reduced. Then I'm going to give it a space below a margin bottom of 5 pixels. So I reduce the space in between them. If I comment that out, you see that the space has been increased just a little bit. I just reduced it by a little space. Then for the LIs, which are the list here, I think they're too big. So I want to reduce the font size as well. So the LIs, they are going to take a font size of 0.8 rem, 0.8 actually. So this is what I want. So you can see that our site is now fully responsive. Let's check out this footer, and this is how it looks in the tablet version. This is how it looks on the mobile version. But on the laptop version, you will see that this join button, it's no longer by the side of the input anymore, which was what it originally was when we started styling for the desktop version. And that is because if you remember when I added this, when I created this, or rather when I added this direct child selector, so it does not target the div that is inside, that is within the form. It only targets the direct child. That's this div from here to this point. It doesn't work on the direct child. So how we are going to do that is that we are going to style this form as well, but we are going to style it on the desktop version, not on the tablet, not on the tablet or the mobile. It's going to be on the desktop version. So let's just put our form somewhere here. So I'm going to give it a form and a div. I'm not going to nest the div. I'm just going to do a descendant selector, which works in the same way as nesting it. So this is a descendant selector. What I'm saying is that I'm styling all the div that is found within the form element. So all the div that is found within this form element, and we only have one div here. So it works in the same way as if I try to nest it. This is an older version before CSS nesting came out, but it still works. So I'm going to give it a display of flex, and let's see what happens. All right, so now we have our join perfectly placed by the side. So I prefer it like this. If you don't like it, you can do something different. But now let's look at our site. This is the mobile version of our site. Okay, there is something I'm not liking here. Okay, I see what is happening. let's try to give this a flex wrap of wrap. Okay, I guess that fixed it, but not on the doesn't work on this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to remove this flex wrap from here, and we have it back. It seems the problem started from the tablet view, So I'm going to apply this flex wrap to start. I'm going to tell you to start wrapping from the tablet view. So I guess this is it here. This is we're going to just nest the div. So this time I'm nesting it. I'm not using the descendant selector, and I'm going to give it a flex wrap of wrap. Let's see if that works. So that did not work. Oh, I think I was we are still in the laptop view. I made a mistake. I should have switched over to the tablet view. I thought I switched over, but I'm still in the laptop view. So if I switch over to the tablet view, that actually worked. It actually worked. So if I comment this out, you can see that it starts to stack. It starts to come by the side horizontally, which is what I don't want. So when I comment this out, see that it does stack, and same goes for the mobile. But on the laptop or desktop view, it appears by the side. So our site is now fully responsive, and that's this is just a bit of responsive design in implementation. So you get the idea behind responsive design. It just makes sure that our site appears well optimized for the human eyes and for robots. Just making sure your site is well placed across different screens, so that it does not appear funny on one screen and appear nice on the other. Everything looks nice and well placed across different screens. If this video was helpful to you, please make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.